Hello, hope you're all well. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, how you doing? I have gained a few subscribers recently, so thank you very much for stopping by. Remember to hit that bell icon if you would like to see new videos from me as and when I post them, because right now my schedule is weekly, once a week, and it changes frequently. So today I thought I would share with you 5 books that I would love to reread and will highly recommend to pretty much anyone. So some of these you're probably going to be like, really, Rebecca, really? And then others are you're going to be like, okay, fair play. So without further ado, let's get into the books that I want to reread. So this is a series that could go on forever, so I'm just going to start basically with 5 that I absolutely love. And the first one being Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a one that I have recently finished reading. Absolutely adored this book. It follows Citra and Rowan, and they live in a society where there is no such thing as dying or diseases. Everything kind of like that is eradicated for the sake of the population. The only way that you can die is by being gleaned by a scythe. And we follow Citra and Rowan, who are 2 apprentices under one scythe. Scythe Faraday, absolutely love Scythe Faraday, and we follow them as they're learning how to be scythes. So being a scythe has a heck of a lot of responsibility that you don't actually realise until you get further into the book, just how serious a job this actually is. Like, you have people's lives in your hands. You learn about different scythes' methods of gleaning and their reasonings, and it's really, really fascinating. And we see Citra and Rowan starting to grow as they have to leave their families and go and train to be apprentices. And then one day at a conclave, which is like basically a big general meeting that all the scythes have every few months, they get told essentially that one of them will have to glean the other when only one of them becomes a scythe. And you're left reeling by this information, but not really reeling because it's on the back of the book. You then kind of see their dynamics change a little bit, and I absolutely adored this. So much so that I've recently bought Thunderhead, and I am intending on reading that soon. I just absolutely loved this. I loved Scythe Faraday. I loved Citra and Rowan's characters. I loved their friendship. I even loved the baddies in this. There are some baddies in this. And I actually loved their character arcs too. And I'm really, really excited to see what Thunderhead brings, which is the 2nd book in the series, and the 3rd book, The Tall, comes out this year. So if you have not picked this up, I would highly, highly recommend you do. This next one is a one that you're going to be like, whoa, Rebecca, this is not your kind of style. But it is The Bees by Lillian Paul. I read this one in, I think it was 2015, and absolutely adored it. It was just so overwhelming and such a powerful read, and it really resonated with me. So this one follows our little bee, Flora 717, who is basically a bee at the bottom of the ladder, bottom of the pecking order. She's designed for one role and one role only, and she must fulfill that role throughout her life. However, this means that she has to survive massacres and fires, like basically wasps, all that kind of stuff. And yes, she is an actual bee. This is literally about bees. It's not some sort of metaphor about humans, although it could be seen like that. But this is literally about a bee, which is one of the things that I loved about it. So yes, we follow Flora 717 as she's trying to find her place in this society. And then one day she has a very, very, very overwhelming maternal instinct that she's not allowed to have, because only the queen can have those maternal instincts. And she's kind of left like, oh my god, what do I do? But then she is a strong, independent woman, and we see that throughout this book. And it sits at like 350-ish pages. I absolutely adored this one. I absolutely loved Flora 717. I love the fact that it breaks so many boundaries, like cultural and societal boundaries within this world. Also, side note, if I'm straining, it's because cramping is a real situation right now, and it really friggin' hurts. The main tagline on the back of this is accept, obey, serve. And this, you know, Emma Donoghue has blurred this as one wild ride. It's heart-wrenching, heart-pounding novel, wrenches us into a new world, and she is so right. And I, based off my love of this, ended up, when The Farm was released, which I've recently mentioned in a book haul, if I remember I'll leave that down below. When that was released, I picked that one up on the basis of this book, basically. Like, it's a life-changing idea. It's a societal kind of thing. Like, what would happen if you're in that hierarchy and things just change just because you have this instinct that you can't push to one side. Absolutely, I loved this. I laughed and cried, felt anger, literally felt like I was Flora 717 for the whole book. Which, if you are made to feel like that, that is top-notch writing. Okay, so on to the third one. We have The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I absolutely adored this, and I actually put off seeing the film adaptation for a while, and I was pleasantly surprised. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I'm here to discuss the novel that is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. This follows a young girl called Melanie, who basically lives in a cell, and every morning she gets taken to roll call and lessons, but not in a normal sense. I mean, if you can count the fact that she lives in a cell as normal. She basically gets strapped into what I can only describe as a standy-uppy wheelchair with a straitjacket and a mouth guard. And her legs are restrained, her arms are restrained, her mouth is restrained, and she doesn't really know why. To begin with, we're kind of like, well, hang on a minute, why is she being restrained? But obviously we know, but she doesn't know, that essentially she is one of a select number of children who have some sort of disease that turns people into essentially zombies. And we follow Melanie on her little journey. So much happens in this, and I don't really know what I can and can't tell you without being spoilerish. So because Melanie, our main character, doesn't really understand why she's like tied up and all this kind of stuff every morning and for her classes and stuff, she often jokes, "Why are you doing this? I won't bite," and tries to laugh, but nobody else laughs, because essentially if she does bite, you turn into a zombie. And then crap goes down where Melanie has to flee her little army base protected home bubble into the real world, where there are actual infected human beings, and she has to try and keep everybody safe while also being kept safe herself, because she is very, very important in this mission that she doesn't know exists. And I'm rambling, and I don't think this makes any sense, but I absolutely adored this. I loved Melanie, I loved the teacher, even Sergeant Parks, even though he was a bit of a knob, put it nicely. I really, really enjoyed it, and I would highly, highly recommend for anybody who likes zombie apocalypse-y kind of stuff, like dystopian kind of societies with a zombie touch. Think if you enjoyed Warm Bodies, you'd probably enjoy this. Only this is a little bit more, I feel it's a little bit more graphic, but I would highly recommend. Next up, I have The Martian by Andy Weir. I absolutely adore The Martian, and I would recommend this for anybody on a spacey kick. If you love semi-biographical kind of style stories, but completely fictitious obviously, but like Daisy Jones and the Six. If you love Daisy Jones and the Six, which is about a made-up band, then you will love a made-up story about a man who got stranded on the moon. Like, I absolutely love this. This is told in diary entries, pretty much. This one follows Mark Watney, who is involved basically in an explosion on Mars, and his crew leave him behind as they believe he is basically dead. So they've left him for dead. They assume he's dead, he's been injured. Turns out no, he was just knocked unconscious, and shit is going down because now he has to live on the moon by himself until they can come back and get him. But he doesn't know if they'll be able to come back and get him because he can't get in contact with anybody because everything is just screwed to hell. We follow Mark as he tries to survive and tries to prove that sustainable life can be built for the sake of his own survival. I absolutely love this. If you're not into crew language, for starters, I apologise for this video. Not. Secondly, don't read this because he swears a lot from what I remember, but I would actually recommend this to pretty much everyone. And I would also recommend the movie adaptation, which stars Matt Damon, because it was a really good adaptation. I would highly, highly recommend this one to pretty much everyone. And this last one that I want to share, people are probably going to cringe, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend The Host by Stephanie Meyer to everyone. I absolutely love this. So I read this after I read Twilight, and at the time of reading Twilight, I was very much Twihard, pretty much. And then I read this. This is nothing like Twilight, and that's what I loved about it. So this one, it's a utopian / dystopian kind of world. It's one of the utopians. If you're into aliens that can control a body and take over bodies, and government run like government chases and stuff, and secret worlds, like secret societies, all that kind of stuff, then this is right up your alley. So I loved this, and the premise of this is that Earth has been taken over by a species of alien that can basically insert themselves into your body as a host, and this is done through attaching the host, which is essentially what I would imagine is like a little wisp in a test tube, is inserted through a cut behind your ear, and kind of attaches itself to your brain, in your bloodstream. It's there, you're stuck with it, tough. And it takes over your mind, it takes over your memories, it takes over your body, and lives your life but as themselves, kind of. And you kind of get pushed to one side, in the back of the brain, forgotten about, pushed out, left to basically not exist anymore. Until we come across Melanie. So Melanie is a very interesting character in that she has a lot of spirit. She looks after her younger brother, and she looks after her younger brother with her boyfriend Jared, but who's also not her boyfriend but is at the same time. It's a weird situation. They're kind of all together as a party of three. They go on food hunts, food scavengers, and that's when things go down for Melanie. We realise fairly early on in the book that Melanie is actually being taken over by Wanderer, who has been on pretty much the most amount of galaxies and the most amount of hosts that anyone could ever imagine. And each time her host body dies, she just moves on to the next sort of planet. And Wanderer gets put into Melanie's body. And there's one problem. Melanie is wanting to reject Wanderer, and therefore her memories and her consciousness are not going away. So she's starting to fight back. So Wanderer ends up yearning for Jared because she doesn't know where the hell Jared is, or who the hell Jared is, or what he looks like. And she's also yearning for Melanie's younger brother because she wants to care for Melanie's younger brother, but she can't because she doesn't know who Melanie's younger brother is. All she knows is that she has a voice inside her head that will not go away. And in this book we have dual perspective. We have Wanda and we also have Melanie, and I loved this, and I actually really I'm well overdue a reread of this, and I absolutely loved it. Like, that hunker of a book has been on holidays with me, like countless holidays. Like, I would take it for a few years. I took this book on holiday every year because I just loved to reread it. And I did watch the film, so there is a film adaptation. The only thing is that I don't think it did this justice at all. There are certain bits that I feel like would be essential that don't really get shown or don't really get enough attention, such as how it happens, or sort of like how the normal humans survive, kind of thing, that like haven't been captured yet, like what their tricks and tips are to survive. I feel like they would be essential in the book, like in the film, sorry. But I absolutely adored this, and I'm well overdue a reread, and I really need The Secret to come out, which is the second book, which she is apparently writing and has been for the past 6 or 7 years apparently, which is from the viewpoint of the police kind of version, or the version of the police in the book, who go hunting down rogue hosts and go hunting down humans to have hosts inserted into. Anyway, really enjoyed this. Would highly recommend to somebody who's wanting to start in like utopian and dystopian, or would like a kind of like cheesy read. I absolutely love this, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. So there we have it. Those are 5 books that I would highly recommend and what I want to reread. Let me know in the comments down below if there is anything that you've just seen me talk about that you would like to reread, or if there's anything that you would recommend to me to read for the first time, or maybe even as a reread. Believe it or not, I've actually read some of the books on these shelves. Like, I know, surprise. Yes, let me know in the comments down below what your favourite reads are, what you would love to reread, and I will chat to you down there. All my social media and all that good stuff is down there as well, including Goodreads, and I will be adding my blog in there because I do a blog now. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all soon. Bye!